This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Store. We're in a bit of a weird situation this week as the hearing has gone in one of my ears, so luckily I have my right side facing you, Mr. Frank Smith. It was a good laugh yesterday on the flight to New Orleans. We're sat here, just had breakfast bright and early, ready to upload this for the UK viewers. How are we?
I'm good. What did you say about your hearing? You couldn't hear?
Not biting.
You were really annoying on the plane yesterday, to be fair. And we had a bet that you couldn't down a bottle of red wine, a small bottle of red wine. You didn't do it.
I did do it. I don't even know how to explain it. I did do it though.
Okay. If you say to someone, down this drink, it's one continuous down, right?
It's not my fault that my lips become
Yeah, but that was the game. He started at £200. You started the thing at £200 and you ended up agreeing to £33.
Yeah, but to be fair, the bottle was like 150 millilitres.
And you still couldn't even down it.
And I did down it.
You didn't.
I did.
It took you 2 goes to down it. So, but look, let's forget about that. Feeling good. Been to the gym this morning. Up at 5 a.m.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
Yeah. Under your face.
Oh, I see.
The boxing social thing.
Oh,
just leave the interviewer to do the interviewing.
Ooh, getting proper chopstick, aren't you? What do you want me?
You were saying something, and then you just went down the chopsy route.
Yeah, let's kick this off, Parsons.
We're here for Regis Prograis. Just firstly, how excited are you? A free fight deal. Obviously, slight complications with the fight itself and getting an opponent. You go for Zorrilla now on Saturday night, but it was always going to be not so much an easier touch, but in your first fight of the free fight deal, maybe not the hardest of the three.
Yeah, look, obviously we wanted the Paro fight. We announced that. Unfortunately, he pulled out injured, but excited to get started with Regis Prograis. You know, 140 pounds are going to be an exciting division over the next few years. Some massive fights to be made, and we believe Regis Prograis is the best out there. And you know, it's going to be a fun journey. You know, so many fights to be made. As I say, you've got the discussions of whether Devin Haney could come back. Obviously, Teofimo, I know he announced he's retired, but I don't quite believe that. You got Jack Catterall's there as well. Is a potential fight. Obviously, Dalton Smith, the likes of those guys. You know, so many fun fights to be made. So it's a lot to look forward to. Looking forward to our first show in New Orleans as well, just across from the arena here. It's going to be a great night in there.
Just on a personal note, how happy are Matchroom? I remember when Josh Taylor was a free agent ages ago, I think after the Prograis fight, he went and signed with Top Rank. Eddie done an interview with him. They both happened to be at the train station at the same time, and the sort of talk was, well, we don't have the fighters at 140, now you do. You're really building that stable up. A really good division as well.
Yeah, great division. Like I say, so many big fights to be made. Got some great talent. They've got young talent coming through. Got the world champions. As I say, Devin Haney's would be great to get him back on board. We had a great relationship with Devin for years. It's amazing what he's done in the sport already in such a short time frame. So I definitely see him coming up to 140. And again, like I say, I think Teofimo Lopez will come back. You've obviously got Cibriel Matias as well. There's big unifications to be made. So it's a good time, and good that we got on board with it. And it's going to be a fun few years of fights, as I say, in that division.
With Matias, there were talks that he was going to sign for Matchroom, and then his fight ended up getting announced. Do you know what his sort of promotional situation is, and maybe after this fight you look at doing that?
Hello, mate. Mate, have you been running outside?
Yes.
That is disgusting.
8 miles.
8 miles?
Yeah.
I would love to pan the camera around just to show him but I won't.
Oh,
That's nuts.
that is disgusting.
That is
The
nuts.
5K on Saturday, I know you did double it, but you are a machine. The 5K on Saturday is going to be disgusting. At what pace? What pace?
7.5 minute mile. Not quick.
Oh, only 7.5 minute mile. Only like 4.5 minute kilometres.
That is baffling.
You
You
look
may as
well.
well have just
No, you
jumped in the
You
bath.
look well though, mate.
I've been this t-shirt out like 10 times already. Ready?
Oh.
See you in a bit. Sorry, what were we talking? That was amazing. Sorry, that was Liam, who we work with. Has been for an 8-mile run. The humidity, it's about 40 degrees here, so he's in pieces. What were we talking about before?
Matthias.
You shout, Matthias. Yeah. We obviously were looking at doing something with him, but we focused on Regis Prograis. We believe there's a big opportunity with Regis Prograis. It would have been great to get them both, but timings didn't quite work out. But let's see. There's definitely opportunity in the future to make fights happen. So we'll see how things play out.
Okay, let's have a little reflection then on last weekend. Teofimo Lopez. We will talk about the Matchroom show, but on the topic of the 140s, Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor was the favourite going into the fight. Started very quick, but I suppose wasn't quick enough down the end stretch. Teofimo, I have to say, looked absolutely excellent.
Yeah, he did. Teofimo is a brilliant fighter. And Josh Taylor's a great fighter as well. But the best man won on the night. I'll be honest, I haven't watched it. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. I was coming back from our show, and to be honest, if I try and watch another boxing show on a Sunday when I'm about to fly away to another boxing show, I think I'll get lynched at home. So I haven't watched the fight, but from the clips I saw, Teofimo looked very good. Like I say, I don't think he'll retire now, and I'm sure Josh Taylor will come back again. There's some interesting fights to be made. Maybe the Catterall fight in the future is a rematch can be made, but hopefully one of them does it with a belt. That would be the most interesting thing. So, we'll see how things play out that end. But congrats to Teofimo Lopez, and like I say, hopefully he doesn't retire, because I think he's still got a lot left to give the sport. I think he's 25 years old, isn't he? And he's one of those people who's done so much in the sport, and I think there's a lot more to be delivered from him. I know he's had his tough times, and a lot of people question whether he should have been in there on Saturday night, but at the same time he went in there and delivered a performance like that. Obviously shows where he is within himself. And everyone's dealing with things. A lot of people are going through a lot of things, but you have to respect the time he's going through, and he's still delivering performance like that. It's quite sensational. So, like I say, hopefully he carries on.
It is quite mad, isn't it? Because even myself in the build-up sort of questioned a lot of the comments being made, wanting to kill someone in the ring, etc. I know he's apologised for those comments, but between the two of them, you would have experienced it, and the Cambosos fight week, they are mad, but it seems to be working.
They are mad. I mean, Junior's a lot less mad than Senior. I actually think he's a really nice person. Like, spending time around Teofimo Lopez Jr. I haven't really spent much time around Senior, but I actually quite like Teofimo. I think he's, like I say, he's obviously going through a lot, been through a lot, but at the same time, he's a tremendous fighter, and I think, again, he's still got a lot left to deliver the sport, but, his health and mind is of paramount importance over anything else. So I'm sure he can deal with everything he's going through, and then he'll make a comeback in due course, I'm sure.
Will Devin Haney be there on Saturday night?
Possibly. I don't know just yet. We've got a meeting actually in a minute with all the team, so we'll find out. It'd be great to have him here. They've done a bit of talking back and forth, and I think it's a natural fight to be made. So fingers crossed. It'd be great to have him in attendance.
Do you know what his next move will be? I mean, I know that Shakur Stevenson fight is an absolutely mouth-watering clash that everyone would like to see, but we know that sort of for years now, even back when Haney was with Matchroom, 135 was always a bit of a push for him. Post-Loma fight, do you think he probably goes up to 140 now?
Yeah, look, we don't represent Devin yet, unfortunately. Hopefully we do again in the future, but I think he goes to 140. I think that's the natural move for him. Look, he's become undisputed at 135. He's defended it against the best. He's never shied away from any challenge, so it's not a case of him. If he didn't fight Shakur, he's not dodging Shakur. He's fought everyone. Sorry. Oh, was it? Oh.
Don't say that.
I'm not going to say. He's fought everyone, and he's always fought, he's never shied away from any challenge at all. So you have to respect Devin Haney for that. But yeah, I think 140 is naturally where he moves to next.
All right, reflection on your show last week. Not often I miss one, but Lewis Hart was in there to handle the business. Sunny Edwards.
Good he is. That Lewis Hart, really good. Less chopsy as well. Very humble.
Reflection on the fight week as a whole.
Yeah, fight week was good. It was an entertaining build-up, especially in the Edwards Campos fight. There's a bit of history between the two of them. They've done talking over the years, and a good show overall. Chev Clarke I thought looked brilliant against David Jamieson in a tough fight that a lot of people thought was very close, but Chev Clarke showed his talent in there, and I think he's going to move very quickly now. Chev, he's a brilliant fighter, and he's a character as well, which always helps. Sunny Edwards, it was a tougher, more awkward fight than maybe some people imagined it would be. But Sunny's a brilliant fighter, and I think he needs the biggest fights and the best fights to bring the best out of him. And I think that's what that's always been his aim. That's why he signed with us, to deliver those massive fights. He would have gone straight into a massive fight. But look, a good win for him on Saturday. You had Nina Hughes retain her belt, another good win for her. Got a step on now. Unifications hopefully there for her. Ellie Scottney, a brilliant win against Shanika Johnson. She's waited and worked so hard to get that opportunity and to go in there and get the win was great to see. George Liddard, great win. Shannon Ryan, brilliant performance as well. Reece Bellotti, great win. He's been around for a long time. He's been with he used to fight with Matchroom years ago. That was a brilliant fight as well. It was a shame it wasn't a little bit later in the night as well, that fight, but that was a brilliant performance. And Johnny Fisher, as always, the crowd comes out for him. I think now's the time to really step on. He needs to move into those title fights. We thought that opponent would go a bit longer. Unfortunately, it didn't. And it's not really the way we probably wanted it to end. But we need to step on with Johnny now, because to keep him building and developing, he needs bigger tests, and that will that people will get behind him even further in those bigger fights. So that's the plan now, and we all know what we need to do now.
With that being said,
and Muhammad Ali as well. Muhammad Ali, great win for Muhammad Ali.
Just on Johnny Fisher, with that being said, look, there's always going to be a lot of hate when you've got the sort of social media persona that he has got and his family have got. Look, it's not for everyone, fair enough, you don't have to like it. But at the same time, he is a raw novice still. Technically, he could just be padded all the way up. I know he wants to test himself, a Southern Area title or something, but he's not really in any rush.
No, but at the same time, fights like Saturday, again, unfortunately, look, we all picked the opponent and we wanted it to go longer. We thought it would, but you're not learning anything in those fights, is the reality. He's trained 9-10 weeks to fight a round, and that's where we need to. It's the right balance, though, at the same time. You can't throw him into the wolves in a fight that he's not favourite, but it is going to... It's going to become closer fights, 50, 60-40 fights that he can get. Well, I think that's what he wants. Well, not straight away, but over a period of time for him to develop. It's the only way you're going to develop. You're not going to develop and learn in a fight like that, are you? Is the reality. No, yeah. And it's not what he wanted, And it is tough in the heavyweights, because it is quite a gulf in that class as well when you step up. But look, we're working through who's next for him. But I think Southern Area title will be a decent step up for him next.
How far is he away from a Sokolowski? And I say that being quite real because, look at David Adelaide with Sokolowski. I think Dave Allen before he fought... No, Lucas Brown, before he fought Dave Allen.
He probably beat Lucas Brown, didn't he? In many people's eyes.
He's almost like, regardless of his record, quite a high level. When do you sort of look at those sort of guys?
It's a hard one with someone like Sokolowski, because perceptionally to people it would just be viewed as... He needs the right types of opponents, and especially with the way he sells tickets and the way he's built himself. People aren't going to give him the respect in a fight against someone like Sokolowski. The boxing fans may, but the broader casual audience that he definitely attracts won't. So it's a fine balance, isn't it? You've got to find the right opponents, and the reality is with heavyweight boxing, it's not always easy.
All right, Frank, on Sunny Edwards, Eddie Hearn shook his hand in the ring and said unification's 100% next. Just firstly, I believe Benn was meant to be there on Saturday night. Why was he not?
Last minute, I think he had some medical stuff, obviously, with his jaw after the last fight. He had to attend back at home. He was supposed to come, got changed very last minute. I believe we make that fight next, though, still for November, December time. Working very hard to get it over the line, and like I say, I believe the deal gets done.
UK or US?
US, I think.
Then does that leave Martinez with Dalakayan? Has anyone from Matchroom had any contract with Dalakayan? He's a bit of a... Well, when I was speaking to Eddie, he's almost in like the who needs him club a little bit. He's got the world title, but he's not got a name or anything. I know he fought on Beterbiev Yard in January. Do you look to make that unification for Martinez?
Yeah, look, I think if we can make Martinez Dillian and then the winners of those two fights fight in the early part of next year, that's definitely what we'd aim to do. There's work to be done there. It's not as close as Jesse against Sunny is, but that should definitely be the plan, to crown an undisputed champion in the early part of 2024. They're always entertaining fights. All of these guys always go in there and give it their all. So it's what the fans want to see. So that's what we'll focus on.
Frazer Clarke returns to the ring on Saturday night in an 8-rounder against Mariusz Wach. A lot of the talk was that he needs to go into 10. I believe it is scheduled for 8 rounds. Just your thoughts and thoughts on the opponent?
I don't think Mariusz Wach's a bad opponent, to be honest. He's experienced. He's a lot more experienced than anyone Frazer's been in with. I don't understand the 8-rounder part. The whole discussion was he's got to have a 10-rounder. We want to give him a 10-rounder before he challenges. We want to do this fight later in the year against Fabio Wardley. He needs a 10-rounder. He needs a 10-rounder. I kind of feel a bit bad for Frazer Clarke, really, because he'll be getting a lot of the stick when it's probably not. Oh, there's your fade in the camera. He'll be getting a lot of the stick when it's not really his fault. I like Frazer Clarke. He's a brilliant fighter, and he's so experienced beyond what his pro fights say because of what he's done in amateur boxing, especially with the World Series of Boxing as well, which was more like a pro format, being in there against some of the best names in the sport over the last, 12 years or so, 14 years, been around so long, probably longer. And it's a shame, really, because I think he's headlining that show, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which is
Mazim pulled off, so yeah.
But Frazer Clarke in an 8-rounder headlining a show on Sky. Like, what are you doing? And that's not Frazer Clarke, but what is going on? Like, Frazer Clarke should be headline in the position he's in with the experience he's had. He should be in a 10-round fight. Nothing wrong with Mariusz Wach, like I say. I don't think anyway. Do it over 10 rounds. Yeah. No, but that's what you're saying. You can't come out and say he needs 10 rounds, he needs experience, he needs 10 rounders. Okay, we're going to do this one over 8. It makes no sense. But anyway, that's their business. Like I say, I feel a bit bad for Frazer Clarke. I'm sure it's not what he wants. I know what he wants. He wants the biggest fights.
David Adelaide with a win. We expect him now to be mandated for Fabio Wardley. We assume maybe it will go to purse bids. It's quite refreshing, actually, because regardless of all of Frank Warren's interviews last week, George has still come out and said, I don't really care. Business is business. Maybe sees it more how you and Eddie see it. Happy whoever wins that bid for that fight to go on that platform, and definitely will go ahead.
Yeah, like you say, on the George piece is good because we're like-minded, and we all do a bit of, everyone does a bit of talking and sometimes maybe say the wrong thing or go a step too far, but at the same time it's good that we can all have relationships. I think it's good that there's 2 experienced promoters involved in this purse bid, who aren't going to pull a fighter out, at the detriment of a fighter's career. You've got 2 promoters who know what they're doing, and they're not going to take an opportunity away from, whatever we've said, everyone's said, or you say, or they say, or this person says about us, them, Frank Warren, whatever. Essentially, our job's to deliver for our fighters, and I'm sure that fight, if a deal can't be reached, we'll go to purse bids. The biggest bid will win. The fighter will make a fortune. And it might not even be Matchroom or Frank Warren who win it. It might be some other. It might be Boxing Social putting in a big
Boxer?
bid. Anyone can. That's the joy of it. I mean, that would be funny, wouldn't it? But look, it's the fighters will get paid, and that's the key.
Joshua White, where are we at? We heard it was semi-close. We know the O2's been booked, not necessarily going at the O2, but I know that there's a big sort of push on the UFC model a little bit now, more exclusivity in an event and sort of higher ticket prices. Close, I know AJ put out that bit of a cryptic post, but we do believe it is sort of nearly there.
There's work to be done. It's still the fight we want to make. I think it's a massive fight, but there's still work to be done. These things, fans don't always accept, but these things, especially big fights, they take time. But it's definitely the focus for us, and hopefully we'll have some news soon on that fight, and we can go from there.
How many buys does a fight like that do on DAZN?
Probably 750 to $1 million.
On DAZN?
Yeah. But you got to remember, DAZN's on every platform now. Nobody like you lot, but it is on Sky, it's on Virgin, it's on every platform you can get. So it's kind of, and I think there's certain fights in the sport like that, like Eubank Benn, that it doesn't matter what platform it's on. If you get what I'm saying, like as in it does its own work of hype, those kind of fights, and they don't need the sole focus. Don't get me wrong. Like I've said a million times, Sky is obviously a massive platform, so it's not me doubting that. It's just some fights in the sport are so big, and that's the reality, and we'll do well whatever platform they were on. So look, DAZN's built a great following now, a great base of customers, and like I say, with access on all those other platforms as well, it makes it so simple for the consumer to get a hold of it.
Where are you at with Saudi Arabia and Joshua Wilder?
I met with the guys at the weekends, the Skill Challenge guys, on Saturday in London. I'm speaking to Amir Abdullah later, actually, today as well. So work's still going on that, still work to be done. Not there yet again, but positive movements in the right direction.
Can you imagine there'll be a situation where you have that done before Joshua Whyte? I know there was so much talk about moving backwards. Potentially could be the case.
I think it will all be around the same time, to be honest. I think it will all be around the same time, all subject to results, because they're all improper fights as well. I hear there's a chance Deontay Wilder might fight Andy Ruiz as well. Apparently, again, I've heard from a few people that may be out there.
Before,
yeah. I mean, AJ obviously in the Dillian White fight. That's a tough test as well. So let's see, but hopefully news soon.
Chris Eubank Sr, your father-in-law, has done some interview with Talksport yesterday. Some of them sort of being quite vocal against his own son, Junior. Some comments aimed towards Eddie Hearn as well. Look, I'm always with you when I ask you about things like this. I don't really want to get your opinion on it as such, because it's family and it is personal, but given the current climate and we sort of know about his mental state, should he be doing interviews?
Look, I don't think so. I'm not going to go back and say about what he said. I didn't see it, or I saw clips of it. I saw some comments and quotes from it. I don't really think he should right now. And that's a few people have sort of put that message out there that he shouldn't be doing it. It's hard for me to say anything. I'm not really going to comment on what he said. Everyone has an opinion on something, fair enough, but I don't. I think, especially when it's family, like talking about your son, etc., it's a hard one to watch, obviously. So, I don't think he should, but people care more about views than anything else, don't they? But that's my opinion.
All right, Frank, just finally from me, I've got the calendar up and I'm going to push for some dates. So obviously this weekend we have New Orleans, the following weekend we're in New York for Edgar Berlanga versus Jason Quigley. July 1 we're in Sheffield for, I don't know why I'm saying we, well I suppose I am going to be there.
Do you work for Matchroom now? The Royal We.
That's what the comments think. Sheffield, July 1, Dalton Smith. July 7 or July 8, I believe you're in Mexico.
July 7, yeah.
Saturday the 15th of July, you are in Detroit. July 22nd, anything?
Weekend off, mate. Yes. July 22nd, we got, and my birthday's on the 24th, so you've got to remember to send me a birthday card.
You literally didn't wish me happy birthday on my birthday.
I'm sure I did. It probably just didn't arrive. July 29th, we'll be back. August 5th, you got Jake Paul against Nate Diaz on DAZN, so it's unlikely we'll do a show that date. August 12th, the potential is the AJ Dillian White date. August 19th, the Next Gen show, Galalia Fire, Birmingham. Yeah.
Cyrus Pattinson, is he on that card?
Yep, that's the plan for Cyrus.
British title?
Possibly. Sol Dacre's on there as well. Aaron Bowen's on there, a few others. August 26th, I think, is the weekend of Usyk against Dubois.
You going to try and bid for that?
Possibly, yeah. We've discussed it a bit internally. But let's see. I'm sure everyone will have a lot of interest in that fight, especially BT as well, because they've invested heavily in Dubois' career. September 2nd is a potential UK date.
Is that Warrington Wood, potentially?
Not September 2nd. We're actually waiting. I've got a call later today with Nottingham Forest. The fixtures come out tomorrow, the Premier League fixtures. So you can't obviously do anything without that. So wait and see how they play out. September 9th, the potential date for Regis Prograis' return. Could be delayed a little bit though if it's the Haney fight. Got shows nearly every week basically up until December. So lots to look forward to.
Okay, just finally from me, on that aspect, I know there was a lot of talk, I think end of 2021, I think you've done something like 54 shows that year, but obviously there was a lot in Spain, a lot in Italy, a lot in Uzbekistan as well, I believe. You've sort of pulled back on those a little bit. I know that there was a bit of a plan in Australia. That's not yet happened. Australian expansion still a thing?
Yeah, maybe. That's definitely something we're looking at. We believe it's a market with a lot of potential. At the same time, we're focusing as well on our core markets, obviously being the UK, US and Mexico. We're announcing a show soon for Monaco, November 4th. We return there after 4 years. Always a great show in the casino there. Abu Dhabi, obviously.
Eubank, Benn, what date?
September 23rd is the date we're working towards. Still discussions ongoing around that. Let's see how that plays out for Abu Dhabi. Got talks ongoing in Malaysia as well, an interesting market for us. Yeah.
We spoke about this before. You mentioned maybe prize fighter.
Yeah.
Would it be with local fighters though, and if so, maybe not a sort of casual selling point?
Yeah, but the prize fighter concept is more to keep the momentum in these markets as well, alongside major events. China as well. So many big markets we're looking at now, especially working with governments, and it helps us bring the biggest fights and make some fights which wouldn't always be possible with the funding they put up. So, there's lots to look forward to, and we're continuing with our global plan. We'll probably do just over 40 shows this year. So it's a lot of shows. And probably, we took January off this year, and then there's a couple of weeks within the year. But it's a big task, tall order, delivering the kind of events we're doing back to back and fights back to back week after week. But yeah, the continued global expansion is still the focus for us.
Well, Frank, this is going to be a long one to upload for me. 27 minutes banked, as always. Thank you for your time, and catch up throughout the week.
Thank you for your time. It's like royalty these days.